Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into my channel. In this video, I've got good news. The college football playoff expansion is on the horizon. Before I get to that though, be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on those notifications so that way you'll be alerted to when new videos drop on my YouTube channel. Alright, let's get into this because I'm super excited. If you'll recall, a number of months ago, I put out a video where I said I wanted to see the college football playoff expand to more than just the current 4 teams. For a number of different reasons. I don't want this video to get long, so I won't go into those reasons. You can check out that video on your own and go review the reasons why. Well, this past week, a working group of 4, that's a subcommittee of one of the committees of the college football playoff organization, has recommended a proposal to expand the college football playoff format from 4 teams to 12 teams. 3 times as many. So much more college football. Some of the details of this proposal are the following. The 12 teams will consist of the 6 highest ranked conference champs at the end of the season, along with 6 at-large bids. There are no automatic bids. There's no reseeding of the playoff teams. And there's no limit on how many teams any one conference can send to the playoff. The top 4 conference champs get first-round byes probably the week after conference championship weekend. Teams ranked 5 through 8 then, they will host playoff games at their home campus. The next week begins the quarterfinals, which will be played at neutral bowl sites that have yet to be determined. But they want to do them on January 1st or 2nd, along with an adjacent day, depending on when January 1st falls. If it's on a Sunday, that's NFL Day, so they'll do it on a different day than that. They'll do it on the 2nd of January instead. Now, this is just a proposal. The 4-person working group is a offshoot of the management committee, which now has to approve the proposal. So this 4-person working group has to submit this proposal to the 11-person management committee for approval. If they approve the plan, whether or not they make changes to it, which they have the right to do, then it goes to the chief body within the CFP organization, and that's the Board of Managers, which is composed of 11 presidents and chancellors from 11 different FBS schools around the country. From everything that I've read, it seems like the chances that the management committee is going to approve the plan almost as is are pretty dang high. I have not yet read an article that says, well, there's some questions about whether or not this plan is going to be approved by the management committee. It seems like it's pretty certain, and a lot of people are very confident that that will in fact be the case. And then there are some articles I've read that said once the management committee approves it, the board of managers is probably going to rubber stamp it. So that means the chances are very good that we're going to get an expanded CFP sometime in the near future. As to when, we don't know yet. That has yet to be determined. Currently, the CFP has a contract for broadcast rights with ESPN that has 5 years left. And that CFP has to make a decision about whether or not they want to wait until that deal expires, and then the next season implement the 12-team playoff to have a bidding war among all the major networks and some streaming services on who's going to get what games. Or they could rework their deal with ESPN if they want to jump into the 12-team format sooner than when that contract expires. But that is yet to be seen. Right now, we're just we've got a subgroup that has made a proposal to a larger group that has to approve it stage of all of this. Let me tell you a couple of reasons why I'm excited about this and why I think this is the right move. First, notice a few moments ago I said they're going to take the top 6 ranked conference champs. there's only 5 Power 5 schools, which means it is now guaranteed that one group of 5 school will get into the CFP. That was one of the major qualms I had about the current setup of just 4 teams, is that it does not give a fair and equal opportunity for any group of 5 team to actually compete for a national championship. Now they do get a fair shot because there will be a group of 5 school every year in the playoff. If this system had been in place last year, 2 teams would have made it. Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina as the champs of the American and Sun Belt conferences, respectively, because they were both conference champs, but they were both higher ranked at the end of the season than the Pac-12 champ Oregon was. So you would have had 2 group of 5 schools making the playoff in 1 year had this system already been implemented. And I think that's great. I think it leads to more parity in the sport. I think it gives a greater and fair opportunity to more teams in the sport. It allows more teams to show that they can indeed be good or great, that they can maybe hang with the big boys, because you never know when you're going to get a Boise State upsetting an Oklahoma or an Appy State upsetting a Michigan. You never know. So give them a shot to settle it on the field. And this is a big step in the right direction on that front. Secondly, teams 1 through 4 get a first round bye, but teams 5 through 8 get to host playoff games. No neutral site BS. I'm not a fan of neutral site games. The bowl games I'm more okay with because they are more true neutral site games than the ones they do early on in the season. Like in the first game, you'll have a top 20 matchup between, Auburn and Washington that's played in Texas. That ain't a neutral site game. But these first round playoff games won't be neutral sites. They'll be at the home campus of the higher ranked team. So could you imagine for a second Wisconsin coming in at number 5 and hosting a playoff game in December in an outdoor stadium at Camp Randall against Texas A&M, Miami? Could you imagine USC traveling across the country to play Michigan and Ann Arbor in December? I can't wait for those kinds of matchups and what that might look like. I think that is a fabulous idea in this proposal. The quarterfinal games, as I said, get back to the neutral site thing, although they don't know what games and what locations those will be just yet. That will be hashed out later on. But for right now, I think there's a lot to commend to this playoff system. The only downside that I could potentially see, and I'm not going to dive into this too much now, is more football games will mean more injuries. That's the biggest bugaboo I have about college football, is that they don't do a good enough job protecting their players. They're trying to take strides, but there's only so much they can do because football is an inherently violent and dangerous sport to play. So injuries will happen. So you're adding on multiple additional games that some teams are going to have to play to win a championship. But then again, Division II has had a playoff for years. Division III has had a playoff for years. They play football. They take the same risks. They take the same chances that they're going to get injured as in Division I. And nobody bitches and complains about that. So let's do the expanded playoff. I like this format. One of the articles that I looked at is this article from a website called The Ringer. And it includes a screenshot from this guy. I don't really know who this is, but he's verified on Twitter, so he must be some sort of famous, where he created a spreadsheet to outline what the college football playoff would have looked like if they had started from the get-go in 2014 with a 12-team format as opposed to a 4-team format. And what I want to focus on is this box right here that summarizes how many appearances each conference would have made had the 12-team format been in place from the start. So the Big Ten would have made 20 total appearances. The SEC 19, the Big 12 12, appropriately enough. The Pac-12 and the ACC 11 each. The group of 5 schools 8 appearances, and Notre Dame as an independent, 3 appearances. I think that's a great ratio. I think that's parity. I think that's giving more schools and more conferences a chance to really compete. As the rest of the tweet says, there were 4 instances of a team ranked outside the top 12 making it into the playoff. Memphis in 2019, Western Michigan in 2016, Houston in 2015, and Boise State in 2014. I think this is a tremendous move on the part of the college football playoff. There are a lot of winners in this. There are some losers in this, though, and perhaps I'll dive into that in other videos. For right now, though, this is the exciting news that's on the docket. There's a lot to be positive about. There's a lot to be happy about with the world of college football at this point. Before I sign off, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that way you will be alerted to when a new video drops. Maybe it's about college football. Maybe it's about my Robert's Rules series. Maybe it's another history video that I might do in the future. Or all of the above. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon.